Good day everyone, I am Wynna Ocsebio, your first reporter. And today, we will tackle the Employee Performance Appraisal. These are the learning outcomes. So, Employee Performance Appraisal is part of human resource management where the past and current job of employee is reviewed or evaluated. It is usually done annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or even weekly or bi-weekly to check their performance and productivity based on set criteria and organizational goals. And the results will support management's future actions and decisions. And it involves the following. First is establishing a job criteria. So, this means setting job expectations or what is expected from an employee in their position, including the skills, knowledge, and so on. Second one is comparing and measuring actual performance versus job criteria. Checking if the employee is truly meeting the established standards or job criteria. For example, if they are completing their tasks correctly, showing knowledge about their job, and fulfilling their responsibilities. The third and last one is communicating results to employees or informing employees the results so they understand whether what they are doing in the company is correct or if they are truly or really meeting expectations. Through this, they also learn which areas they need to improve, which areas they need to change or continue. So now let's tackle or let's discuss the purpose of performance appraisal. So the main purpose of performance appraisal is to measure how well employees are doing their jobs, correct any mistakes, and help them improve their performance. It can also be used as basis in making decisions like who should get promoted, transferred, demoted, or even terminated. So however, there are two basic reasons for the use of performance appraisal that are favorable to both organizations and employees. First is used as an administrative tool. So performance appraisal is used by management to make wise decisions, like deciding who will be promoted, who will be transferred or reassigned, and planning how many employees are needed in the future. It also helps how much salaries or pay rate to give to the employees. For example, the management evaluates the employees and sees that one employee is fulfilling all responsibilities, not being absent without informing appropriate person, or not being late for work, and even doing more than what is expected. Of course, the results will be positive. And because of that, the management may decide to promote the employee or give a higher pay rate. Second is used as a development-oriented tool. So performance appraisal can be used for the development of employees' performance. It helps the management identify the strengths and weaknesses of their employees. In this way, the employees receive the right feedback, and management can support them by providing training to improve their skills, giving advice, teaching them, helping them turn their weaknesses into strengths, and guiding them to become better at their jobs. And now, let's discuss the fundamental points to consider in creating performance criteria. The first one is relevance to company strategic goals. So, performance criteria should always align with organizational goals. If the company's goal is high customer satisfaction, employees can be evaluated on how polite and helpful they are to customers, or how satisfied are the customers when that employee perform their responsibilities. Like in fast food chain, you will evaluate the employee or crew on how happy or satisfied the customer when that crew serves their foods, or if the goal is to increase sales. Employees can be measured by how much sales or revenue they generate, or how many customer they get. Second is failure to include an important aspect of a performance standards. So performance standards should cover all the responsibilities of an employee. This means that if a company only measures one part of an employee's job and ignores the other important parts, the evaluation is incomplete or and unfair. For example, if only a single criterion, basis, or standard like the quality of work is measured, and the speed, politeness, and teamwork of the employees are not measured, then there is a criterion deficiency, or the evaluation does not include all the important parts of the job. Third is inclusion of a should not have been there criterion. This means that sometimes performance criteria include factors that should not be part of the evaluation. When this happens, the results can be wrongly influenced by things that are not really related to the employee's performance. For example, using productivity output as an indicator of good performance for production employees working on old machine compared to those using modern ones. Like, why would you include that criteria knowing they are using different machines? Obviously, it would result to differences in quality and quantity, right? And the last one is reliability. So, reliability pertains to the stability and uniformity of a standard of performance over a period of time. It can be measured by associating two sets of ratings done by only one rater or done by two different raters. For example, two supervisors would evaluate the same employee and assess their fitness for a salary increase. Their evaluation would then be subject to comparison to determine its reliability.
So, good day everyone. I'm David Xander, A. Orlina, reporting to of how evaluating employee performance. So, what is evaluating employee performance? Evaluating employee performance is basically checking the how well the employee is doing their job, if they're doing good or bad. Yes. So we have five types of how will be evaluate employee performance. The first one is managers and department head. Managers and department head is the most common way of evaluation because the manager or department head are are the one who checks the employees overall work performance. They look at how the tasks are done, if their tasks are always on time, or the quality of the output, and the employees' behavior at work, if they treat the customer good. Yes. For example, in fast food chain, we have cashier. So the manager observe if the cashier is accurate or good at handling customer money and polite to the customer. Yes. Next, self-appraisal. Here, the employees are given chance to evaluate themselves, or it also called self-evaluation. So the employees is reflect on their strength, weaknesses, and achievements, or simply help them to become more aware of their performance in work if they're always consistent. For example, I'm the employee and I write I write I write that I'm strong in teamwork and always treat the customer right. Yes. Next is subordinate appraisal. Subordinate appraisal. This is this is this method is type of this type of method is when your workers give feedback about you, or no, so sorry. This is when workers give feedback about their boss or their supervisor or manager, because not always boss or manager is the one who will evaluate the employee. The employee has the right to evaluate or say any say anything say anything or feedback about their boss. The employee is giving feedback of how will of giving feedback if their supervisor or manager is doing a good leadership, easy to easy to communicate, can cooperate, or the behavior of their boss, if the manager or boss is effectively managing the employees. For example, the office staff are as their supervisor if their supervisor give a clear instruction and good behavior to motivate them properly to do their job. Yes. Next one is peer appraisal. This is the method of this method is set to evaluate by your coworker. Like your coworkers evaluate each other performance. For example, me and my coworkers will evaluate each each other because each other. So we will we so the company will know one of if if one of us is doing good or bad. It's useful people because sometimes people in the work closely together together to see each other, and it is good because sometimes in company or business or even in work, we we always have friend or coworkers that we always ask if we have things that we don't know. So it is good method to do this peer appraisal to see each other habit and teamwork. Last one, 360-degree assessment. This type of evaluation or feedback is type of like all feedback is collected by managers, peers, and subordinate to create a overall performance of all the people in company. In short, it is evaluation that all people in the company, like manager, cost ay no manager, employee, supervisor, department, even the janitor, even the security guard, or simply person in the company will do a feedback of everyone in this company to make a overall evaluation in the company. Yes, that's it. Thank you. So so let's move to the next part, the character traits method. Character character traits method is focuses on the personal traits of an employee, like in the positive side is the honest if their honesty, loyalty, integrity, or have a morality, and on the negative side if they are lazy or selfish or not cooperative, not not doing teamwork. Yes, but sometimes it can be subjective because it depends it depends on personal subject personal judgment. And we have four types of character traits method. The first one of this is the graphic rating scale. Graphic rating scale is is set to employees are rated on a specific trait using a scale like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. It's easy to use, but sometimes it may be general because it's scale only, and using numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is the 5 sometimes is the highest, or 1. Yes. Next is the mix standard rating scale. Rating scale is a mix of of graphic rating scale, or is the more more advanced version of graphic rating scale, because it's it instead of just a number, it described as a word like average, above average, below average, or good, very good, bad, very bad, like that. It's like a clearer clearer rating scale than the graphic rating scale. The next one is the force choice method. Force choice method is like uh eva- the evaluator choose between set statement option, which is make harder to be biased because it focuses on behavior instead on personal opinions. For example, the employees is set to evaluate if they meet the deadline. The only choices is agree or disagree, because it's called force choice method because it only have two 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 choices only, and you have to answer one only. That's why it called force choice method. And the last one is the written report method, or you called essay method. This this method is the most detailed explanation about employee, because just like the method written report, the employees is set to explain the strengths, weaknesses, and giving information to how to improve the employees weaknesses, or giving a lot of tips. So it more detailed or more depth than just number like graphic rating scale. Yes.
Hello everyone, I am Rhiane Nicole, and today we're going to tackle about how companies check employee performance. The first one was explained by my group mate David, so we will going to look at the two types only. The one that focuses on the behavior and the other one that focuses on the output. So let's start with the first one. So first, we have the behavior-based method. This is just a simple idea. It's all about how an employee acts at work and what kind of behavior she or he show. This method helps everyone understand which actions are good and which are not allowed. So let's look at an example number one called critical incident method. With this method, a manager keeps a special log when an employee does something really great and the manager writes it down. If the manager does something or if the employee rather does something that is not acceptable, the manager write down too. This give a clear picture of an employee's behavior over time. So, number two, the behavior checklist method. This is very direct. the manager has a form of list of statement about work behavior. They simply put a check mark next to the statement that describe how the employee acts. And the third one is the behavior anchored rating scales or bars. For this, the manager looks at different parts of job like customer service or teamwork. They use a scale to rate the employee's specific behaviors in each of those areas. So for the next slide, let's move on to the second type, which is the output-based method. So this method is different because it focuses on the result of the output, not just their action. So there are a lot of people that like this method because they feel like it's more fair and it encourages employees to do better. One of the example is the production-based method. This is a common in jobs where you make things and it measures an employee's performance by looking how much they produce and how few mistakes they made. So this is a great way to help employees see how their work helped the company succeed. So another popular example is the management by objectives. This is also known as MBO. In here, the manager and the employee work together. First, they agree on a specific goals, then they decide how to achieve the goals. This makes sure that both employee and the company are working toward the same things. So next is choosing the best performance appraisal method. So which is the method is the best? I'm going to explain each method pros and cons. So let's see for the next slide the table number 7. So as you can see, this table is split into 3 columns. The appraisal method, its advantage, and its disadvantage. We'll go through each one method one by one. So, so first, let's look at the character trait method. This method focuses on an employee's personal qualities like their loyalty, dependability, or creativity. One of its biggest advantage is that it's simple and cost efficient. It's easy for managers to use and it includes dimensions that are often relevant to the job. However, this method has some serious drawbacks. It's prone to rating flaws, meaning a manager's personal bias can easily affect the rating because it focuses on personality rather than what someone does. It's also not very helpful for giving feedback or making decisions about promotions or salary increase. So for the next one, we have the behavior-based method. This one is different because it focuses on what the employee does or their specific actions and behaviors on the job. So this has a lot of benefits. It uses a specific job performance indicator which makes the feedback much clearer. It it is great for providing performance feedback because you can talk about the concrete behavior. It's also appropriate for making compensation and benefit decisions, and both workers and managers tend to find it more fair. The main issue here is that it can be time consuming and expensive to prepare. You have to carefully track and document specific behavior, which can take a lot of time and effort. So for the last one, we have the output-based method. This method is all about the result or what an employee actually produce or achieve. This is very popular method because it ties employees' goals directly to the organizational goals. It's seen as fair by both workers and managers because it's based on tangible results. It's also considered ideal for making decisions about pay and bonuses. So the biggest disadvantage in this is that it can promote a shorter outlook. So employees might focus only on getting the result quickly and ignore the other important tasks. It also might include irrelevant job standards or focus on outcomes that are beyond the employee's control. So that's all, thank you, but we have some conclusion. The conclusion is it doesn't matter which method a company uses. The main goal is always the same. It is to help the employee understand their performance and find ways to improve.
The next topic is all about performance evaluation errors. First is halo effect. It is a common error in performance evaluation.
It happens when a supervisor focuses too much on one positive trait, such as good communication skills or being cooperative, and allows it to influence the overall evaluation. This results in an inaccurate and overly favorable assessment that does not truly reflect the employee's ability. Over time, it may lead to undeserved rewards or promotions for the employee. At the same time, it can unmotivate other workers who perform better but are not equally recognized. For example, an employee may be very friendly and punctual, so the supervisor rates them highly even if their actual work output is poor. This leads to an unfair and inaccurate assessment of performance. Next is Horn's effect. It is the opposite of the halo effect, where a supervisor judges an employee unfairly based on one negative trait, ignoring their strengths and overshadowing all the employee's positive qualities. When supervisors focus only on weaknesses, they fail to recognize the actual value the employee brings to the organization. Over time, this can cause frustration and dissatisfaction, pushing employees to disengage or even leave the company. It may also set a negative example for others, making them fear that one mistake will define their full performance. Such an approach damages the credibility of performance appraisals and weakens organizational fairness. For instance, if one employee is shy and less talkative, the supervisor may assume they are unproductive or uncooperative, even though their actual work performance is excellent. This creates an unfair evaluation and can lower the employee's motivation and confidence. Next is central tendency. It happens when supervisors give most employees an average rating regardless of their actual performance. It ignores the differences between high performers and low performers, making the evaluation inaccurate. As a result, outstanding employees may feel undervalued since their efforts are not properly recognized. This practice reduces the effectiveness of performance or appraisals and can negatively affect motivation in the workplace. For example, a highly productive employee and a poorly performing one may both receive the same meets expectations mark just to avoid excuse. This prevents outstanding employees from being rewarded and poor performers from being corrected. Next is strictness or leniency. It is where a supervisor consistently gives ratings that are either too high or too low than what they truly deserve. Instead of basing the evaluation on actual performance, the rating is influenced by bias or inaccurate judgment. This can harm. The next topic is all about appraisal forms. First appraisal form is employee primary information. This section of the form provides the employee's essential work-related details, serving as a reference for identification and proper record management. It usually includes the job title, department, and employee ID, which help clarify the employee's role in the organization. Having this information ensures accuracy in documentation and smooth organizational processes. Next is aptitude. This part evaluates an employee's skills, knowledge, and ability to perform specific tasks effectively. It includes different competencies with behavioral measures that indicate how well an employee applies these abilities in their work. This helps supervisors assess strengths and areas for improvement based on clear, measurable standards. Next is major accomplishments. This part of the forms highlights the achievements of the employee within the evaluation or review period. It allows the evaluator to recognize contributions that had a positive impact on the team or organization. An employee may be credited for successfully leading a project or exceeding sales targets. Next is developmental achievements. This part of the appraisal form focuses on evaluating how much the employee has worked toward personal and professional development goals. This section shows whether the employee has improved skills, gained new knowledge, or applied training effectively in their work. By doing so, it provides a clear picture of the employee's progress and readiness for greater responsibilities. Lastly, signature. The signature section serves as formal confirmation that all parties have reviewed and understood the appraisal form. By signing, the employee, rater, and unit head acknowledge the evaluation process and its results. This ensures transparency, accountability, and agreement on the performance assessment.
Hello, I am Justin B. Pasa, and I'm going to report the next topic, which is the essential attributes of appraisal form. It should be known that there are no such thing as a universally precise appraisal form. In some instant, an appraisal form may highlight capabilities and disregards the outcome. Appraisal training is a crucial as its provision for employee input and accessibility to the results, fostering the mutual trust and constructive environment. These elements ensure that the appraisal system is useful for individual and organizational developments, also supports the data decisions and build trust and fairness within the workplace. So the first attribute is the simplicity. If the form are too long and complicated, it is likely that the performance assessment process will not be effective. They must be easily understandable, complete, and precise. This focus on clarity and directness helps reduce the decision failure, improve communications, and automates repetitive tasks, and ensures employees can concentrate on their value-added activity. The next one is the job relevancy. Contents of the form should include items and information that are related to the duties and responsibilities of the job. Otherwise, they will be considered as administrative difficulty and not as an effective tool for performance improvement. So when employees are in a job relevant to their capabilities, they are more engaged, motivated, and effective, which directly impact the organizational productivity. So the next one is the reliability and validity. It should contain coherence, reliability, and valid informations that can be used in illegal circumstances. If, for instance, there are two or more appraisers using the same appraisal method, the rate should come from each other. Highly relevant and validity increased confidence in the decision made based on the appraisal results. So the next one is the adaptability. An effective appraisal form matches the appraisal particular needs for the organization and allows supervisors and manager to adapt them to their particular situation. Appraisal form assesses the employee's ability to adjust to changing circumstances, also to new information and evolving priorities and unexpected challenges requiring flexibility and positive attitude, and also a problem solving skills and a willingness to learn. And the next one is the open communication. The meaning of this component of the form must be specifically and clearly communicated to all those who are participating in the evaluation process. There should be a significant interchange of perspectives and concerns between manager and the employees. It's also a goal showing how effectively you express your idea, and also to listen to others and create an environment where people feel comfortable sharing. So the next one is the employee access to the results. Every em- every employee should be given appropriate feedback on their performance. This also helps the employees to know their progress in their career and their individual development, because it shows that the areas where they are weak and need to change and the area to improve more. Withholding such would not serve the purpose and hindering their development efforts. It usually refers to whether the employee can review, understand, and respond to their performance evaluation results. So the next topic is the employee's appraisal interview. The employee's appraisal interview is one of the means of assuring a good working environment and professional development. This purpose is not only to evaluate but also to motivate and so to support the development and strengthen the collaboration between the employees and the manager. It also highlights the strength and identify areas where the employee can grow often, leading agree upon development plan and training.
So, let's go to the case exercise number 7. And this is the case. Fundidor Farm INC is facing challenges with employees' productivity and engagement. The company had traditional annual performance review system which employees found unhelpful and demotivating. Managers failed to address performance issues promptly and neglected to provide support where needed. After a year, Fundidor Farm noticed a significant decrease in employee involvement and the overall productivity dropped by 15%. Employees felt unvalued and demotivated as they do not receive timely feedback about their performance. So here's the question. What action should be taken by HR department to address these challenges and to improve employees' engagement productivity? Excuse me. So for the question number 1, I think HR should replace the annual review with more frequent performance feedback like monthly or quarterly. Also, HR should create a open communication like meetings, service to their employees, and also HR should offer or could offer training and development programs so employee could feel they growing in their roles. So for question number 2, other than feedback, what other options can you consider enhancing the employee's job performance? Eh, so other than that, I can suggest by doing employee recognition programs like giving them awards, incentives, bonuses, or maybe holiday like that. Thank you. So let's go for case exercise number 8. LLL Outlet Store is struggling with an outdated performance appraisal system that relies heavily on subjective criteria. Employees feel that the process is unclear and biased, leading to dissatisfaction and decreased employee morale. Within a year, employees' satisfaction indicated a 20% decrease in employee turnover rose to 15%. Quarterly reviews are not assuring that employees stay aligned with their goals because there is no regular feedback. For the question, considering the feelings of the employees about the situation, how can you evaluate their performance justly and effectively? For me, the store should use like peer appraisal or maybe self appraisal to implement a good feedback of their employee, or maybe the store should use a 360-degree feedback to to gather more data and feedback to the managers, fears, and even a self assessment, and maybe to not to be just biased, so not to be biased like that. And also, store should set a clear and measurable goal so employees know how they're being evaluated, and provide a fair and not unbiased tool to focus on the actual performance of their employees. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
The next is the chapter summary. So this is all the summary of all the topics. So the first one is the employee's performance appraisal is a stamp part of the human resource management function, by which the part are currently jobbed of an employee is to review, evaluate, and eventually kept on file as evidence that supports management's future actions and decisions. Typically, this perform appraisal is conducted annually or every 6 months, or maybe even or even in more shortened cycle, such as weekly. And the second one is there are two basic reasons for the use of performance appraisal that are favorable both to the organizations and employees. As an administrative tool used to synchronize practically all HRM practiced, like designing training program and helping assess pay rates, and as a development oriented tool to seen as helpful in pinpointing employees' strengths and weaknesses and acknowledging their training needs. So it's also evaluating employees' performance in a formal process to evaluate the employees' performance and how they are well with their works. Sorry. It may involve manager and department heads, also self-appraisal or subordinate judgment. Common techniques such as mixed standard rating scales, the forced choice method using multiple choice questions, and written reports method, and where strengths, weaknesses, and improves the details to support employees' growth and development. This approach can provide a well-rounded view. And the third one is the performance review. Um, Performance review are here to stay until a foreseeing future time. It is because regardless how the appraisal is managed, the fact remains that all employees needs to friendly give a feedback or conference mechanics to inspire and guide them to towards the improvement of their job performance. However, pinpointing what is the best method depending on your company's short and long-term goals and the objective of the company. And the last one is the appraisal feedback. Appraisal feedback is one of the most important parts of performance appraisal procedure. It gives the supervisor and also the manager the chance to talk about the employee's work accomplishment and to further look into the probable areas for upgrading and enhancing the performance of the employees. And so